What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Today I have a very special guest, a blast from the past. Ashley Johns is in the building. How you doing, Ashley?
So good. Blessed to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's my Wednesday. So, I'm trying to get over the hump, and once I do, I know it's a good down the hill slide into the weekend. So I'm looking forward to today for sure. But just for everybody out there who may not know how the format is, we do a few intro questions just to set the tone. We have a little icebreaker for the guest, and then we go into the main meat of the questions, and we wrap it up with a concluding question. Sound good to you?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, my first question was the question you just had for me, but how have you been? It's been forever. So are you doing good? You going through it? How have you been?
Oh man. Overall, I'm doing really well. I can't complain. Like, all things considered, it's been a crazy last 12 months, as it has been for everybody. But I've learned so much about myself. And it's really dope, like in this exact moment, to feel settled, whatever that really is, but like to feel just a little more settled. I just got a dog 2 days ago, so like
congratulations. Yeah. 2 days ago.
2 days ago, Pit named Duke, and so I feel really good right now. So yeah.
For sure. You mentioned about, learning about yourself during these past 12 months. What's something that you may have learned about yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
Of course. What didn't I learn? I learned I have way more quirks than I thought. It's the gift of the quarantine, and especially because I live alone, and so I quarantined by myself. So I have a pod, but they don't live with me. They're not here on the day-to-day, and especially in the earlier months when this was all starting and nobody had any answers and it was just fear. Everything was really, I didn't see anybody, and so when you're by yourself like that, all you have to do is just be with yourself. And so I found that I'm really into, I didn't know this about myself, but it's a really fun fact now, that I'm really into reality shows where people have to create something and then somebody gets eliminated at the end.
Okay.
Great British Baking Show. Love it. Alone, the survival show. Again, I like watching people strategize. I love watching. I don't know why it's my jam though. I love people you have 90 minutes to create, or some crazy thing that it would take me 90 days, but and then they're eliminated at the end. I just love that shit.
I feel you.
I don't know. I did not know that was my thing. Before quarantine, of course, again, I got to sit and just watch a lot of television.
Oh yeah.
I'm very invested in escape, in escaping into other stories, escaping into other worlds. There's something really peaceful about it, and I really got to see just how much I do that, and I got to learn where some of it is anxiety, running away from anxiety, where some of it is just really where it's no, this is just my happy place and I'm kind of in it. Those were some very big things for me. I know the reality TV show seems really small, but as somebody who really didn't watch reality TV, I was very against it. It speaks to what we were talking about just a little bit earlier in terms of I realized that I'm very much so in and committed to learning about people's stories and learning about what people do with what they have, and so watching reality TV, I was just well, I'm just into this.
I feel you.
then learning about my anxiety and how I cope, and being able to just grow from all of that has been really dope. Hard, but really dope.
For sure, for sure. You mentioned about like the creating reality shows. Have you seen the one with Amy Poehler and Nick Swanson? I think that's his real name.
Yeah, so I've only watched a couple episodes. I literally just discovered it and I was like, what is this?
Yeah. I didn't watch the whole series. I was really into like, I was playing Sims a lot in the beginning of quarantine. So there's what's it called? There's a couple episodes where they get a storage container and they have the contestants like make its own room or whatever. That one was dope. I was like, I love that.
That sounds like, yeah, all of that. Give me that.
Yeah,
give me that. Like, give me the like. What are you gonna do with like a limited amount of time and like these particular and very specific resources? Like, just show me. Yeah.
And we gotta do something like that. Why not just create our own show? Like.
I'm so down.
Nah, we'll think that up. We'll think that up for sure.
That's so dope. You said that you were playing Sims a lot.
Yeah.
I never played Sims, so tell me more about Sims because I'm so curious.
So, I mean, Sims is kind of like I liked it because you could kind of like build your dream home and like get creative with it. And there's cheat codes because like you're supposed to earn money and go to work, but there's a cheat code where you can just be a millionaire and like you can just buy all the stuff that you want or how you want to set things up. So in that sense, you're building kind of like a dream house and you're like, okay, cool, this is what I'm striving for, and kind of idea. But yeah, I think you could play it online with other people, but I was really just like doing my own neighborhood or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing with it, just trying to get creative. Like, this past quarantine, each month I felt like I was diving into like an old childhood hobby and trying to like think about what made me like, draw into it. And I was just like, I kind of progressed through the months as well. But I think, that was a part of just learning about myself and just kind of like, okay, what about all these things, what is it that resonates and how does that like fit into what I want to do for the rest of my life? And yeah, it was a great experience. For me personally, I know quarantine has affected everybody differently, but hopefully people have spent the time to, like you said, kind of discover themselves, because that was really the only time we had. Before that it was like we're all racing and couldn't slow down, and we had a chance to slow down. So that was my quarantine experience for sure.
That's awesome.
So, my second question for you is, what would you like the audience, your descendants, to know about you? I frame this in the way where, like, for me, when I'm still feel like I'm discovering myself, and I think about my ancestors, and I kind of think about, I wonder what they were like. So if for you, if one of your descendants was like, damn, I wonder what my ancestor was like, what would you want them to know about you?
God, that's such a good question. I think I want them to know that, the truth in that, like, I thought that life was hard, but that I never gave up. And even when it was like real rough, like dark moments, I never gave up, and that I took 100% responsibility for my life. In that I'm choosing to create my life every day. And so it has never been a dull moment. But yeah, I never gave up and I kept creating. Those are the things that I would want my descendants to know is, that they come from They come from survivors. They come from creators. They come from, the perseverant.
I feel you. Yeah, I definitely resonate with the whole creator thing for sure. It just, that's what I feel like I'll be trying to do for the rest of my life. I mean, people hate it when I say try, because it's either you're doing it or you're not. But but I feel like, for me, it just never feels like, oh, that's what I am. It's just like, I guess I'm waiting for like that outside of affirmation, from like something where like I don't have to say I'm a creator, people just know it, kind of thing. So I don't know, maybe that's when I'll start feeling like that's what I am. But for now, we're all trying.
We're all trying. That's so funny that you would say that, just because one, I've always seen you, particularly, especially knowing you as a younger person, as a creator. Even then, like, you've always been somebody who, your attitude, I remember this very specifically. My mom and I were actually talking about this. It was, you've always had this amazing attitude that never really seemed to, I never got the feeling from you that you were going to be burdened by an obstacle. You were going to create a path. And that always was something that, like, really, you in particular, that was something that I always felt for you. And you were always creative. You were always creating. And, I could be wrong, obviously, like, I don't know your whole life, but that was in the short time that you and I had, where I got to observe you. You were always doing something. And so, for you to even be doing this, like, I mean, I don't know about trying. It seems like you doing it. So
thank you. I just want to say thank you for that, for sure. That, like we were talking about earlier, that gap isn't too high, but definitely, seeing all you guys, that we all held you up in high regard. You guys were our role models. You guys definitely gave us good advice back then, and even right now. So thank you for that. It's funny when you're a kid, you don't notice those things, but it's always nice to talk to someone who probably seen it in a different light. And I just want to say thank you. Like that hits me for sure. I appreciate it. But yeah, I guess in that same sense, I always thought maybe that's like a part of my arrogance, or part of my ego, where I kind of feel like, yeah, I think I can make it, really. But I also don't want to feel like, that's me being, overconfident. I got to know where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the 10 years of failure I was talking about earlier. It's just that the whole time in the back of my head, it's all like, it's okay. I'm gonna make it.
That's so dope. Like, that's what the whole thing is about. Like, I wish that we taught, like, I love hearing you say, sorry, I just got so pumped because like, I love hearing you say, like, 10 years of failure. I wish that we spent more time teaching people how to fail, because it's not about the win. Like, really, like, at the end of the day, like, the goal, like, oh yeah, we want to make it and we want to all that stuff. You get there and that's great, but it's all about what you learned when you got, like, by the time you got there. Like, it's all about the journey. It's all about, like, all of the things that shaped you, along the way, everybody that you met, everything, like, all of the wrong turns that led you to the right one. I mean, like, it's better to fail than to win and never know what failure is, because you just, I would say that that's a failed life.
I feel you.
And so I love that. I do. And I think that it's something that we all struggle with, particularly people of color. I think we all, struggle with I can't, let me be a little more, let me know my place. Let me not get too ahead of myself. Let me not, also give, how do I say it? Like, let me not claim, already what I am, unless I've, shine too bright. lest I, like make somebody else uncomfortable, or see, I come off arrogant or anything like that. And I think I know so many people, actually, I don't know anybody who hasn't had that moment.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Yeah.
Yes, especially when like it's in a workplace or maybe in an environment where your shine is not, common. It's just like, oh shit, they're doing what? Like, kind of ideal. Yeah, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, for me, at least in all my workplaces, a part of my 10 years was also having 10 different jobs, jumping around. So, that was a good experience as far as just seeing how like, no matter where I go, there's always going to be a system that I can't do anything about. I felt like it took me a long time to realize that. It took me a long time to feel like, okay, this isn't my fight, as much as I want it to be. But yeah, no, I feel you. All right. My third question for you is, how would you like to be honored? Like if I was going to honor Ashley Johns, how would I do that in a small way, or a big way?
Oof. Man, these are really good questions. How would I like to be honored? I think that the best way to honor me would be for you to live your most expressed life and laugh as much as possible. That would be like the greatest. I think that would be the best way to honor me. I wish, I can't think of anything else that like would be, or, just, if you write a book, just dedicate it to me.
I got you. Don't worry. I mean, those first two things for sure. I'll do extra amounts of those in your honor for sure. But, as far as book writing, are you writing a book or you working on one?
I mean, I've got like several book ideas in my head. But am I currently writing one? No, not at the moment. But there are some that are. I've been speaking to a friend of mine who is an artist, an illustrator, and I'm really into graphic novels.
Oh, okay.
So I've been talking with him about a particular idea that I think would be really dope. There's a couple different things, but currently at the moment, no. But eventually, yes.
For sure. I guess one of the exercises that I started doing or trying to do, I don't know if you ever kept a journal or anything. I had attempted so many times throughout my life to do so, but I could never like just stick with it. You feel me? Like it's just super hard to be like, I'm gonna write this today. But now, as I'm older and looking back, I think a big part of it is just memories. Like I think I've been trying to write down as many memories as I can. Just so like I have them down. Like in my family, Alzheimer's runs through my family, so it's one of those things personally where like I want to be able to read these things and just hopefully that will help me down the road. But also it's been pretty like therapeutic, just because those memories, instead of just being in my head, are going down in paper, and I'm like, feels like I'm releasing those things in a way, which is a trip. But that was one thing I wasn't expecting to get out of it. But but yeah.
That's real. That's hella real. It does help to get it out, and that does. I write as much as I can, but I started doing it a little different. I do like almost the exact opposite of what you do. I do future talks. So I literally.
Okay, I like that too.
I literally will write something as though it's already happened in the future, and just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, thankful, and grateful. Like today was an amazing day. I got word that I'm a New York Times best-selling author, or just like going it helps my anxiety with like, like, oh, the future. It's like, no, let's just create it. Let's just see it. Let's visualize it. Let's make it act like it's already happened. So that's what my journals probably look like. It's a bunch of just future.
I'm gonna have to borrow that for sure.
Do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna try that out. That's part of manifestation. I had talk to someone about that on the podcast. That's an episode maybe you might want to check out. But she talked about the 4 steps of manifestation, and I know one that I didn't think about or even like try was like you should say thank you already. Like,
yep.
Yeah, so in that same way of like, future talk.
Future.
Like, who knows? All right. My last question for the intro is, how well do you know yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 if it's hard to put into words?
10 being like, you know yourself, or 10 being like, like a 2?
Okay.
I mean, I'm always learning something new. And every single day, it's like, it's different. Every single day is different. And I feel like I'm just always like in awe of like, wow, you really didn't know that. Like, interesting. And every time I think I know myself, then comes the big change and everything changes yet again. Like, it's like, oh, I was really, I had very strong views about like, I don't know, this, and then something will happen very soon thereafter that will completely change that. And so, 2 is being a little,
You're being humble there.
I'd say, okay, I'll give myself a 4. But I don't think I'm going higher than that.
I got you. Yeah, personally, I give myself a 5. I think, like you were saying, depends, right? For me, at the highest of my highs, I feel like I'm a 10, and then at my lowest of lows, I feel like I'm a 1, just because, you feel like, okay, I got this, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am, and then when things fall apart, you're just like, who am I? Get all over again, So, yeah.
It's a journey. I definitely, like, I just discovered, or I won't say that I discovered, but like, I feel like I consistently am checking in, and I'm like, so what exactly are you, like, what's your purpose? What's your purpose, Ashley? Like, what's your purpose?
Yeah.
And really trying to dig into that. And like, again, it changes. It changes all the time. And therefore I'm kind of like, yeah, we're not sure yet.
No, for sure. I mean, I think about what was my purpose when I was in high school? What was my purpose when I was in college?
Yeah.
And now that's all in the past. What's my purpose now in my 30s? So definitely changes. Cool. So now we're moving on to the icebreaker portion. It is a spelling bee. I basically ask you to spell it. It's just one word. It's not like a bunch of words or anything. It's just one word, and you get 2 chances. If you get it right, you will be invited back on from like my spelling bee episode of the podcast down the road. But yeah, feel free to participate, and also feel free to say no. It's all good.
Let's go. Let's try it. Let's see what happens.
All right. So the question is, the word is liaison.
Okay. It's L-I-A. I think that there's actually another I in there. Liaison.
Damn, you the first person to get it right the first try, yo. Like, that's what's up. I had chosen that word, like, thinking, like, how hard is this word? And then every guest just couldn't get it right. And then I was like, okay, I think this is a good baseline.
That's a good one.
Right on. Well, congratulations. You are you're gonna be on the well, I'll invite you back. Hopefully it works out with everyone's schedules. But yeah, spelling bee episode down the road. But yeah.
The heavyweight champion.
There's only 3 contestants right now, so yeah.
You all down. Just playing with.
For sure. All right, we've reached the main meat of the interview. Give me a number between 1 and 34.
All right. Let's start with 17.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's a fill in the blank. Religion is blank.
Oh man, this is damn it.
You could skip it if you like, you know.
No. Let's I'm up for a challenge. Religion is to me, religion is a beautiful practice originally intended to provide people a path or a way to discover themselves with love, with acceptance, with patience, and all of the compassion. I believe that religion is all inclusive. There is no exclusivity. There is no othering. There is no, I think that religion is a tool for awakening, or reawakening. I think that the spirit is already awoken. We just often put it to sleep based on everything else and all of the stuff that we choose to numb ourselves. So it's this, just reawakening the spirit. That's what I think religion is. Yeah.
That was a dope ass answer. I'll tell you that. No, I definitely feel you on that. Religion. I kind of wonder if it's kind of like, are you ready for college? Like, are you ready for religion? That kind of sense of, I know, because I grew up I was in a Catholic school from K through 8, and it felt like this is what it is. This is what the world is. Everybody's in a Catholic school. That's what it felt like as a young kid. And then I feel like a lot of my classmates growing up, they've had their own awakenings, and they found their own paths to religion. And I mean, for me, similar sense. One thing that kind of turned me off about going to church was like, it almost felt like we were zombies in a way, standing up at the same time, saying the same things, chanting. And that didn't sit right with me. I was like, I don't think this is the way it's supposed to be. Not saying don't gather. Like, I feel like it's great that's building community, but right. It's just more so like, these are the rules and you gotta follow them. And So,
I can't get down with I think as soon as it starts to be about like, I gotta go through a middleman, I gotta go through, all of these hoops essentially in order to be considered worthy. I've got to maintain this particular type of lifestyle that somebody else has set out for me, like without knowing me, without any of those things. Or else I'm going to go to some bad place called hell where I'm going to be, forever tortured and all of that. Like, for me personally, that part was where I was like, I don't know, this seems like real contradictory to like what the original word, if we're saying like the word, like what it really is. In all religions, like really, like everybody started to interpret it based on what they wanted it to be, or based on whatever kind of control they wanted to have, or whatever power they wanted to exude, and historically speaking, and so that didn't sit right with me. But once I started to really dive into my own research and just like exploration, I discovered like, oh, okay, I actually think that all of y'all were really trying to say the same thing. It just really got like lost in translation. And but I feel you 100%. Like, there's the kind of like cultish, sometimes there's like I hate saying that word, but like,
I feel you. That's not what we're saying.
at all. There is no, it's not that. But you say this, do this exactly like this. It's very uniform. That part for me personally, no, everybody do your thing, go team. Whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you the feelings of enlightenment, no judgment. Like if you feel 100% expressed and fully alive, however you got there, do you. For me, I felt restricted in that particular type of expression of religion.
For sure. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
All right, throw me another number.
Oh gosh. 22.
22. Okay, we were kind of talking about this earlier, but if your life stages were broken into books, I guess my first question would be how many books, and then what would be the titles? You know, like.
Oh, so good. Yeah, great. The titles would be, or first of all, I think that there would be, I'd probably break it up by decade. So, 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. So there'd be so we're like halfway through the fourth book.
I got you.
And they would each be called, the first one would probably be called like something like, this is gonna sound really crazy. That's just the way they wear their natural. It's something that I said as a really young child that like has stuck with my family. That's just how they wear their natural, which basically kind of like, like you just being you. That's how you do you. I
like that.
So that's probably, and that was very, at that age, I was very much so like just doing me, and really like committed to that. You couldn't get me to do what I didn't want to do. Like I was very individual, like super individualistic. Like I, as a little girl, I hated dresses. And like at that time in life, all your parents want to do is like dress you up in like dresses and like all of the things. And I was like, nah, I'm wearing these boys' shoes and these jeans and my hair is going to be all over the place and I don't care. That's how it started. And then 11 to 20, I would say that would be called like, it was like the discovery of substances.
Okay, hey, that's a good title. That is a good title. The discovery of substances. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, that was when I discovered like alcohol and started like smoking, and even like if we're getting down to like really all of the things, it's like that's when your menstrual cycle starts and all like all of it. So yeah, the discovery of substances. And then 21 to 30, oh geez. That would be like, I think we call that chapter or that book like, Are We There Yet?
Oh, okay.
That that decade was rough. I went through a lot and was really, really seeking to kind of get through the hell that I was kind of creating for myself, or that I felt consistently for, you know, a solid number of years there. And like all the way through, you know, like again, you keep on going, but I hadn't really figured out how to really like sit with myself. So, you know, like we were talking about being able to sit and like really learning about like my anxiety, you know, and learning more about that right now and discovering. So again, it's taken me, you know, however 20 years, like 10 years to like really get there. But I didn't know how to be with myself, or I didn't really even have the language for what I was going through or anything like that. And so I just knew I wanted it to be done. I was like, whatever this is that we're going through, like, can we speed it up? And so, yeah, are we there yet? Have we learned the lesson? It felt like, this is actually what it felt like, a video game where you can't get past a certain level. Like, you know how like you're just like, I know I'm not even at the boss level yet. Like, I'm just constantly getting like, you know, dying at the exact same spot, or maybe I'll get like an inch, you know, or like a little bit further, but like I missed the ledge, or I missed the jump or something, and like then I gotta start all over. And that's what it felt like for that period of time. Had a great time also, but there were also some really like the journey was bumpy. Was not the most comfortable.
I got you. Yeah.
And then this one right now, I would say I would call this one living in the possibilities. I have been really fortunate, and just I've been really, you know, I've been blessed, and I've been able to learn from some really amazing people and be around just such phenomenal beings. And I've been fortunate enough to like read and consume a lot of different, you know, people's wisdom. And something that has stuck with me is, you know, this like, you really do have to take 100% responsibility for everything you have and you don't have in your life, for everything that you like everything that's going on in your world is 100% on you. So create a different possibility, like create the possibility that you want. Look at what, you know, you can, if you can't see it, just because you can't see it right now, like in the realistic terms, or, you know, whatever that is, that doesn't mean that there isn't a possibility out there that you could have what you want, or that it could go differently. Again, all of my life, the whole journey, all of the chapters, something that I always thought was that, you know, this is who I am, and this is like, I'm just destined to stay on this path. I'm destined for this to be the way it goes. Like I'm always gonna have anxiety, or I'm always gonna be, you know, I'm always gonna, you know, be able to laugh at, you know, everything and myself, which is great. But on the flip side, I'm also always gonna be like, you know, depressed, or I'm always gonna like run into the wall, or I'm never gonna know what I want to do with myself or my life. And I thought that was just like, okay, well, it's been prescribed. This is what it is. This is what you came to the earth with. And like, that's it. And, there's no other options really. And to be able to sit and be like, well, all right, this is what the situation is now. Like, okay, here we are in this moment. I can call it honestly and fairly objectively. And this is a possibility that I'm going to create. Like, this is what I'm going to create from this moment. Like, I'm feeling, so an example would be like, I felt really, I had a major, I was living in a different apartment. I moved in the quarantine and I was living in a different apartment, and I just hit that moment. And I think everybody probably had this moment in quarantine, like during the pandemic, where it was just like, okay, enough is enough. Like, what? I need human connection. Like, this isn't going to work. Like, I'm not going to make it. And I had like this anxiety loop where it was just like, everything is bad. And especially during like George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movements, and just it was absolute, just like deep breaths, stay off social media if you can, because but I had this moment where I was like, I was in it, I was in that loop, and I was able to sit, because I couldn't see my way out. I was just like, this is just life now, like, here it is, like, fuck, we're just in this, and like, racism is never gonna end. We're always going to be just in this crazy loop of wishing things were different, but never really seeing it happen. And, I want to see people, but like, now I'm like terrified to see people. And I was able to just say, in this moment, after taking a few deep breaths, breathing is important, but I really sat with it and was like, all right, I'm creating the possibility that in my lifetime, I'm experiencing peace with who I am, however that is represented and reflected to the world, and peace with everyone else around me, and peace with, just I'm just experiencing peace. I'm creating the possibility of seeing peace everywhere I go. Like, I'm creating the possibility that when I walk outside this door, the only thing that's reflected back to me from other people is beauty, is peace, is compassion. And really just thinking about it from that perspective, and being able to say, no, this is the possibility that I'm creating, and I'm going to stand in that. For me, really, one, it makes me feel just incredibly empowered. Like, I'm taking back control of something, like anxiety is like that fear of something that hasn't happened. And so that's just how I've been living my life, has been like every day, just create a new possibility. Like, what is today going to look like? How are you going to show up today? How, what is that? And creating a different path for myself. Like, I'm creating a possibility that like, anxiety doesn't rule my life. And that has made a huge difference. And suddenly, suddenly doors opened. Suddenly I was able to move through the world. And this is, and that was a particular example, but I've been doing this for pretty, the last few years at least. And really just kind of like, okay, let's just take control and let's just try some new stuff. Like, I'm creating the possibility that all of my bills are paid, and that like, I never have to like wonder about whether I'm taken care of, like, or whether all of my needs are met on so many different levels. And that's just the possibility that I'm living in. And, and it's really, it's opened up a lot of doors. It's been a really interesting process. It's not the easiest. It's challenging to get into that headspace, but yeah, that would be this chapter or this book for sure. All about possibilities.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I want to say thank you for that quality answer. Because sometimes people don't really know how to answer a certain question, you know, and sometimes I feel bad because I put them on the spot and it's like, oh no, I don't know what to say. But no, I just appreciate that you had. Seems like you had thought about this before and you know, had that for sure in the pocket. But
I think so. I haven't, to be completely honest, I looked at your questions, but I hadn't actually, like, I wanted it to be as authentic as possible, you know, and I wanted to make sure that I was coming correct. And not to, you know, like, oh, and then I wrote out like these answers for you. So I hadn't actually seen that particular one though.
Okay. Okay.
And so that one was like, I mean, that's a great question.
Thank you. You mentioned so many things that like I would want to touch on. One is, you know, you talked about that first 1 to 10 kind of age range book. Like, when were you starting to become conscious of like those decisions? Like, I don't want to dress this way. I want to be this way. Because for me, I felt like my childhood was just like, oh, you know, I wasn't even tripping off stuff. I was just being a kid. It didn't really matter what I was doing. Like, I wasn't trying to make a statement at that age, you know? So when did you start like being like, oh, this is who I am?
I think supposedly, according to my mom and like my dad and my sister, I came out the womb like that. Like, I came out and was like, it's my world now. You guys are just here. But like,
it's funny.
I think that I became like aware of. I remember in like first grade, I was kind of like, I liked things that were just weird, or not weird, but like that nobody else was really into. And I kind of dug it. Like, there was this alternative side. Like, I liked the things that didn't really match. I liked, you know, like mismatching socks. I like, and those are just like, you know, little examples, but like I was, you know, willfully like, nah, this is who I am, and y'all are gonna accept this shit. And so like it became, for a lot of my classmates, so I went to a school that was a K through 12, and so I grew up with, you know, I went there from first grade on, but so you grew up with a lot of these people. A lot of them stayed, you know, throughout. And I remember the people, like, you know, in middle school, or I think it was like end of middle school or maybe in high school, they were just like, actually, you've always been like just a little more like, and this is how it's going. This is who I am. I don't care.
That's what's up.
So I kind of just, and I think it just, yeah, I think that it started just when I was younger, and I always, I was a tomboy also, so there was that, I wanted to be, I didn't want to be one of the guys, I guess, but like, you know, part of that also means that you're like really paving your own way, because, you know, this little Black girl who goes to a private school, that was also the thing. Like, I went to a private school, and you don't look like everybody else. You don't, you know, you have a whole other, like, outside of school, like, your family is not from the same places. So it was this, I already felt different. And I think I just, instead of being afraid of it, I think I just kind of like, almost as a defense, I was like, well, we're just going to amplify it.
I got you.
Yeah.
For sure. And I guess the other thing I would say is, like, you were talking about the 20s to even now, I would, the battle with anxiety. Yeah, you know, I was doing things that was helping me battle with that anxiety, and until like I really needed to face it. and it was definitely like, oh shit, this is what I've been running away from. I had no idea. And yeah, it's a trip. And you know, like, I'm sure you've had these realizations yourself, but as far as anxiety goes, it does come from a place where you think of the things that you want to control but are really out of your control. And one thing that keeps me at peace is basically just feeling like the thing that I can control the most is probably the energy I bring, you know. And that also just makes me, that's like my highest priority in my day or wherever I go. It's like, you know, you just want to bring, what energy do you want to bring? And I think after that, everything else will kind of like, you know, fall into place or take care of itself. Because I think, you know, I don't think people necessarily want to bring negative energy. You know, maybe there's stuff that they're dealing with that, you know, has buried their good energy all the way down. But I think it's possible. And if they can see other people bring that energy, it comes out of them too. And I would say you're one of those people in my life that I feel like, you know, it's funny thinking about how you would carry yourself when you were my RA, and I'd be like, oh snap, I need to go do something like that too, or like, you know, put myself out there in the same way. Definitely. And I don't know, I don't know if I came off that way as a kid, but I remember thinking like I was really more quiet unless I was given like the opportunity to kind of go get out there, and I would kind of like embrace it and be like, yo, this is who I am. But yeah, no, that's how it was. But yeah, I just want to say, like, you know, if you have any like I guess concerns about that, I think you do bring good energy, and that's why people come to you with that peaceful and that warm light, because that's what you exude as well. So yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that makes me, thank you so much.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's funny to think again, like, that you guys looked up to me or anything during that time, or thought that I had it together of some sort. It's amazing to see. I have a question for you though.
Oh yeah, go for it.
When did you like discover, like, how, like, at what point did you start realizing, or have you always kind of known like what energy I bring to it is really going to be the thing that comes back to me?
So I mean, in all my applications for jobs, you know, or they ask me like, oh, what's your strength or whatever, I always went back to, you know, I think I bring a positive energy to the workplace. I try to make people enjoy coming into work. And you know, it's weird. I think like a lot of my friends say I'm too nice, or they say, you know, like is it called like a romanticism point of view of the world, where like everybody's happy, everybody's good, everybody's coming from the same place. Yeah, so I kind of had that for a while, and you know, deep down I believe it's in there in people as well. It's just that now I feel like I realize, or I can see where I am different from other people in that way, you know. And yeah, I think, and just embracing it is like, you know, the next part where what quarantine helped me out with was kind of like, okay, this is who I've kind of been my whole life, and you know, why don't I just like push it to 1,000, you know? Because I can't really be anybody else. It doesn't feel right to be anybody else. So part of these questions and like having this whole platform is, I remember one time in college, I was, you know, one of those campfire circles, and I was talking to somebody I just met, and I had asked like, oh, what was your favorite childhood toy or whatever, right? And they kind of came off like, why are you asking me that? Like, you know, like, I don't know you like that. And I'm like, I didn't even know it's that big of a deal. Like, and but yeah, so those kind of experiences made me just feel like, okay, that closed me off for a long time, actually. I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to feel anybody like I was trying to step into their life like that. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be like that. And it wasn't until like, yeah, basically quarantine, when I was like, I wonder why that bothered me so much. And I wondered why, like, you know, it made me go to the other extreme so hard. And also, you know, certain substances made me definitely more introverted. And after like taking a break a little bit from it, I realized what was coming out of me was more of like a person who likes to talk, a person who likes to listen, who likes to ask questions, and not just, I mean, being at a bunch of different jobs too, had plenty of opportunities for small talk, which which, you know, gets repetitive, and you know, it's always on the surface. And I was just like, there's got to be more to this, more. So yeah, that's where all that kind of wrapped up, and like this is kind of how I feel like I'm embracing myself. You know, that whole self-love stuff is real, I think, but it all comes first from knowing yourself. And you know, I don't know if it's going to take everybody 10 years of failure to feel that way, but I know for me that's kind of the path that I had to take. Yeah, so this is where I'm at. I hope, like, you know, this is what I think is going to help me, like, regardless of what happens with this whole podcast. Like, I know I'm just going to want to reach out. I know I'm going to just want to talk to people, and if people are open to coming on, and like I told you earlier, it's more like, it doesn't have to be for everybody, you know. It could just be for you. It could just be for your family down the road. So if I can continue to do that, that's really like what it's all about for me. So yeah, energy. Yeah, that's what I want to bring. And also, you know, there's just so much negative energy in the world. Like, and what's put in our face is the negative stuff. It's like, forget about the good things that are happening. Like, you shouldn't be worried about these things. And I think those are the, you know, powers that be trying to like sway our mental states and our decision making as well. So yeah, I just want to be a person that kind of like brings some good news, or like some good energy out there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, all right.
So we actually have about 10 minutes left in the podcast. Feel free to give me one more number, and then we'll conclude it with the concluding question.
Okay, let's do number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Okay. Who do you have major respect for, and why? You don't have to give a name. You could give like a group of people, or like, you know, just that sense.
I have major respect for people who have failed gloriously, who have like really put themselves out there and taken big risks, and just kept on going, and were able to, despite it all, continue to risk bigger even after failing. I have like immense respect for that group of people, that you know, that population, because yeah, I grew up kind of, I felt really risk adverse. Like I wasn't really like, I wanted it to be perfect all the time. I always wanted it to be right. I didn't want, and if it wasn't going to be, or if I was like, do quick calculations, probably not going to get this right, don't do it. Or like, you know, maybe only do it halfway. But anybody who, and I've felt what I have missed by doing that. And I see where my life, I believe, would have been just so much richer had I been courageous enough to just go for it, like just take the leap. Because only like the bigger you are, the bigger your world is. Like, and the bigger you know, the bigger you try, the bigger you know, you go for it. Like the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And, you know, I just have mad respect for people who go for it, you know, who dare greatly, as, who said that? Is that Theodore Roosevelt?
Well, I don't know. I'm not good with that, but.
Well, the people who dare greatly, I think that's, and who are just like on the court, who are like really on the court in their lives doing it. So You are somebody who's in that category, I would consider. So like mad respect. And yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a similar thing. I think, you're probably in the same boat too. It's just propelling you to the thing that's probably gonna push you further. Definitely shout out to the risk takers, all the people who failed and continue to fail. Like, honestly, I think that's you were talking about, that's more worthy life. That's a life lived. Because I think certain aspects of my life I'm risk averse too. Like I don't want to do this, don't want to do that because it's not perfect. But yeah, there's other, like this podcast, and I don't know. Shameless plug. I don't. You notice the hella hungry beanie? That's.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's the dopest beanie. I was like, I'm gonna need one.
Yeah, it's actually a brand I started a couple years ago, and I suck at business, and so everybody they knew it wasn't gonna be something just because I'm not financially good. I'm not, I just like creating. I like putting out the message. So, at this point, I had to take a step back and hopefully find a group of people who kind of want to work together to push this thing. But it's still out there, I'll tell you more about it later. Oh yeah. But yeah. But yeah. Shout out to the risk takers. I forgot my train of thought. I had to do the shameless plug, man.
That's exactly how it's supposed to be. Love it.
All right. So before we get to the concluding question, just want to thank you again. It was great to catch up with you. It was great to hear about the lessons in your life thus far. And yeah, it was an amazing experience for me, and I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I've loved this. This has been great.
For sure. So my last question for you is, what has been the greatest life lesson you've learned thus far?
The greatest life lesson that I have learned is that you can't expect other people to do, say, or respond the way you would. That's been that's a lesson that just, I think comes up a lot, where, oftentimes we want people to respond. I was like, well, that's not how I would do it. So, and we don't really allow people to be human and to do, to be their own person, to have their own, experiences, or allow for them to have their own stories. And that one has made it so that I'm able to have the type of relationships I'm able to have, that I have in my life. And I'm, again, blessed and fortunate to say that I've got multiple best friends. And, I've got a village and a squad that rides super tough for me, and that I ride super tough for. And it's because, we all allow each other that grace, and that space to respond how they're going to respond, and to be who they're going to be, and not, and with as little judgment as possible. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
For sure. Well, just want to say thank you again. It's tough because I haven't figured out a graceful way to end these conversations, just because they keep, I just want to keep the conversation going. So